Hello heathens, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. So today I am going to be doing my January wrap up. January was a stellar reading month. I did a mid-month wrap up because I read so many books that I didn't want to be here for the next 20 hours and no one wants to watch that. I've also just posted my dark romance and romantasy reading vlog if you want to see that, if you like your romance on the dark side. Please go watch that. I'll show the books that are in that vlog, but I won't talk about them. If you want to know my thoughts, kind of go to that. And obviously won't be repeating the ones I had in my mid-month, so if you want to see that, go to that. But I will be talking about my dragon reading month. So I am wearing my dragon leather jacket, and I feel like I've got a bit of a warrior vibe going on here, you know. I'll be at Baskaya if anybody wants me. So I decided that January was going to be Let There Be Dragons, and it was glorious. So we all know, and again I wanted to match Onyx Storm, so yeah, we all know that Onyx Storm came out. Well, anybody that likes Fourth Wing will know that Onyx Storm came out, and I was determined to read all three books basically back to back, which I did. So I started the month off reading Fourth Wing, then I read Iron Flame, and then I read, sorry, I'm dropping the books again, Onyx Storm. And again, I have a separate video going into all of my thoughts on these books. Suffice it to say, I am a massive Rebecca Yarros fan. I may or may not have some merch in my basket for Baskaya War Academy. I really wanted to be wearing that today, but hey, I can wear it another day, it doesn't matter. But I absolutely love these books. I personally loved Iron Flame as well. I loved Onyx Storm. People have, you know, opinions. My opinion is I think the series is fantastic. I love what Rebecca Yarros is doing with it, and I cannot wait for the fourth book. So we really kicked off the month strong. And I think just in general, my thoughts on this month was, like I said, fabulous reading month. Absolutely stellar. Wonderful way to kick off the year. The only problem, of course, with that is that now the bar has been set. It's high. It's high, baby. I have read some of what I think, unless, you know, a lot changes in the next, I don't know how many months, these are going to be all-time favorite books, certainly books of 2025. So, you know, we started with those, and then we moved on to the other dragon books I read this month. So that was When the Moon Hatched, A Language of Dragons, which is a new release, and this is a really gorgeous copy, and Fear the Flames. Now, both When the Moon Hatched and Fear the Flames were indie pubs, and then they were picked up by traditional publishers. I hadn't read either of the indie pub versions, but I've read these versions, so I don't know how different they are if you want to know about that. Shall we start with When the Moon Hatched? Because I know a lot of people were interested in my thoughts on that, and I was having a conversation in one of the comments with one of the subscribers, and they really disliked the book. I fucking loved it. I'm sorry, I love this book. I was very tentative going into this because I was like, oh, the hype. Is it going to be, am I going to like it as much as a lot of people do? But then I've also seen a lot of negative comments, so I was like, I'm interested to see where I fall on this. And this was really why I purchased the book in the first place. It was on sale over Christmas on Amazon, and I was like, you know what, it's half price, it's beautiful. I'm buying it. I want to know. And I love dragons, so hey, I want to know. And the writing style, I get why some people don't like it. I don't think it is for everyone. It's very, I describe it, hate the word fever dream, but it does almost feel like you're in a bit of a fever dream. It's beautiful, it's descriptive, but it leaves you feeling disorientated. It's like you're constantly sort of grabbing for the story, trying to figure it out. And I think it makes sense because that's our main character's state of mind as well. So to describe, I'm going to try and summarize the plot of this book. So you have got your main character who essentially we start off with the fact that she likes to kill people, and she's going around and she kills one of the city guards, and she steals as well, and she gets thrown in jail. And in this world, the punishment there is that they then get fed to dragons as a meal in like the Colosseum. So she is in, you know, the dungeons awaiting her trial and her execution, essentially. And while she's there, she kind of meets a mysterious stranger who actually heals her and she's not entirely sure what his motives are, and we're not entirely sure what his motives are. But anyway, she is kind of dragged forth for her execution, and then she's grabbed by a dragon, and instead of being immediately eaten, the dragon takes her away. And thus starts, I think, the main part of the story. And it is kind of epic, it's beautiful. At its heart, there is a love story that spans centuries. There's also this gorgeous dragon mythology in this world of when the moon hatched refers to these dragons that when they die, they become like moons. They started sort of dying off and they're like moons up in the sky. So there's a particular one that she sort of looks at. You've got different types of dragons in this world as well. Some of them that can survive in heat, some of them that can survive in ice. You have different kingdoms that are at war. You have these tyrannical kind of kings and rulers of each one of these states, so there's political intrigue, but at the heart you have the story of this girl who there's something scratching at the back of her brain. She's had flashes of memory, but there's obviously been another life that she's lived, and it's so beautiful. And because she's disorientated and she doesn't really know why, sometimes when she looks at something she has a flash of recognition, or she has a flash of recognition with this person. That's, I feel, how the story is told, and I love that. I love feeling very disorientated in a story. It doesn't bother me. I think the writing is gorgeous. I don't think it's data overload. A lot of people say the beginning is data dumping. I don't really feel that way. I just thought it was magical. It was beautiful. I had all of the emotions. I was crying while I was reading this. I cannot wait for the sequel, which I think comes out in June. It's one of my top reads of the year so far. I absolutely love this book. And then after Fourth Wing, When the Moon Hatched, these are all, okay, one thing about this, I don't really, star ratings don't do it for me, but if you want to star rating, these are 6-star reads, right? So these are favorites of mine. And then I read Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling, not Rebecca, Olivia Rose Darling. And like I said, this was previously indie published. Was traditionally published. And again, I absolutely love this. And you're going to hear this with all of these books. This is about a girl who, it's very kind of starts quite dark. So she is imprisoned by her own father because when she's born, she's the princess of this particular realm. And when she's born, there is a prophecy that says that she will either destroy or be kind of the savior. And she's also given this gift of 5 dragon eggs, and she bonds to these dragons. And when her father sees the way that she's bonded to these dragons as a little girl, and there's a certain incident that happens with her mother, he fears her, essentially. So what he does, Dad of the Year, this one. Dad of the Year. I mean, I thought I had a Dad of the Year, but this one locks her in a dungeon, takes away her dragons, lets his gods torture her until she escapes. And when I say little, I mean she's a child, like 6-7 years old or something like that. So Father of the Year. But she eventually escapes, and she has now got her own kind of kingdom, but she's never forgotten her dragons. And she wants to go on a quest to get her dragons back. And she teams up with this man from another part of, like, another kingdom who's been at war with her father's kingdom. And he's known as a very savage warlord. But, you know, he may have a soft spot for our lovely lady here and her dragons, and he helps her to find her dragons in exchange for her help. And it is a little bit enemies to lovers. He is perfect shadow daddy, you know. I mean, I love my shadow daddies. This has a wonderful central. I love the romance. I love the way that she's bonded with her dragons. I love our main character. She is fierce. She is tough. She's a fighter. She doesn't let anyone get the better of her. I absolutely love her. I love the mythology with the dragons. I love the politics in this world. It was really interesting. And the end, it's a fabulous ending. And I'm really hoping there's going to be a book 2 anytime soon. But again, another hit of a dragon book. Loved it. Like action, adventure, romance, everything in here. And then the last sort of dragon book I read was this one here. This is A Language of Dragons, and this is by S.F. Williamson. I believe this is a debut. Gorgeous Waterstone special edition. look at the inside. Isn't that beautiful? And then look at that. Oh, gorgeous. And I'm so glad that the inside matched the outside. So again, this is different in the sense that there are some romance elements in it, but I wouldn't actually call this a romantasy. I would say this is a fantasy book. This is a political fantasy book. This really touches on a lot of really relevant themes in power and government and total rule and class system and how we treat people and how we consider people second-class citizens and what governments do. And I think it's very important. I think it's very powerful in its messaging. But it's also a hell of a lot of fun in the sense that we're in a world where there is a dragon queen and the dragons live alongside the humans in this world. And there's a lot of like really great battle scenes in that, but I think it has some really important messages, and it also made me cry. Mainly out of frustration, readings like the idea that people can be oppressed. So what is this about? So this is kind of based on a fictional Bletchley Park. So Bletchley Park was like a code-breaking station in England during the war. And we have got the Queen of England. There's also a Dragon Queen, and they are kind of allies. And there is a very rigid class system in place in the UK at this time. You have like first, second, third class, and I think fourth is the lowest. And if you're in first, you're great, you're good, you've got a good life, you've got a nice house, you've got food on your table. And of course, the lower you go, the less you have. And no one gives a damn about anybody in the lower classes. And there is this kind of system where you have to really almost fight to maintain your position. And our main character, her kind of goal was they have to do really well at school in order to, again, maintain their class or move upper class. She's in second class, so it's not bad, but she could move up to first, and that's kind of what she wants. But also she wants to be a specialist in dragon languages. So that's her thing. She learns to speak and understand different dragon languages, because dragons all over the world, they have different languages. Really cool. And she wants to get into university to be like the foremost professor in this. And you realize in the beginning that she did something to her best friend in order to gain her spot. And this has caused her best friend to actually be demoted into sort of third class and be removed from her family forcibly and basically dumped in the slums. So there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of like that, and I think it's very beautifully handled, and I think it's really interesting and really important and make me really angry reading it. And then there's also this the rest of the plot is the fact that the Queen is then anticipating a war, and these, I won't say what happens because I don't want to kind of ruin most of the plot, but they end up, our main character and a bunch of other kids end up at Bletchley Park in order to help the human war effort, and they have different talents, but it's not all as it seems. So as we know with governments and politics, what they tell you isn't really the truth. Is anyone shocked? No. So it is so good. Like I said, there's some really gut-wrenching parts of it. I loved it. I do wonder if there may be a second book. I feel like it could be. It could just end. But I would absolutely read more of this world. And this is not spicy. Like I said, there's a tiny sort of love story element to it, but it's not the main focus at all of this book. And I think this is a YA book as well. Really great. Really loved it. Hugely recommend. This was a 5-star read as well. So the Dragon Month was good, baby. The Dragon Month was good. I also read other books. So some other books, if you're not that interested in dragons. Like I said, I read a lot of dark romance and dark romantasy. Here they all are. So you've got Anathema, Kerry Lake, 2 H.D. Cotton books, Satan's Affair, Haunting Adeline, Grey Matter by Karina Halley, Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue, and then The Favourites by Lane Fargo. If you want to know about my thoughts on any of these, check out my dark romantasy video that I just posted. I didn't go too much into Anathema on that one. Dr. Katie was is still one of my all-time favourite dark romance reads. This one, I wasn't overly excited, and I'm actually still got that much more to read because I just keep putting it down. So I was a little bit underwhelmed by Anathema. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't love it as much as Nocticadia and as much as some of these other books. I will say, if you don't want to watch that entire video, Grey Matter is incredible. Is it Grey Matter? No, it's Dark Matter. No, it's Grave Matter. What the hell am I saying? Grave Matter by Karina Halley. Yes, if you like just weird sci-fi, horror, dark romance, yeah. And then Haunting Adeline and Satan's Affair. I'm currently reading Haunting Adeline. Wow, those books are hard, but I love them. But trigger warning central, so please be careful. Also, massively recommend The Favourites. So good. Ice Skating, Wuthering Heights meets Daisy Jones and the Six. Fabulous. And then the other books that I read, so I read some other books as well. So I have a goal this year to actually read new books that I buy. So over Christmas, I treated myself to For She Is Wrath, and this is by Emily Varga. And again, this is an absolutely stunning signed special edition, Waterstones edition. I was like, it sounds good. It's about a girl who seeks revenge. Always my favorite thing. And actually, I'm going to be doing a video all about those kind of books. So if you like a good for her moment, stay tuned to the channel. I'll recommend some of my favorite ones. But this one, so what I love about this as well is this is based on jinn magic. And oh my goodness, what I will say is this book, they mention chai so much, and I love chai latte. I love chai tea. And this is set in a, I want to say, kind of fictional India adjacent world, just from the way they dress and the chai and the food. And like I said, every time she mentioned the cardamom and the spices of the chai, I had to go downstairs and get myself a chai from the cafe. They do the best chai downstairs. If anybody's in Brighton, Jacob's Bakery, yes. But so definitely get yourself some chai latte while you're drinking this, because it's so beautiful. So our main character, we start off with her in jail. She's in the horrendous circumstances being tortured in jail for killing a kind of a lord of this world. Except she didn't do it. She was set up and framed by her boyfriend, the love of her life. Yes, he framed her for murder and got her thrown in jail. Yeah, boyfriend of the year. And as you can imagine, she's not happy about this, and she wants revenge. So she teams up with another prisoner, and they find a really ingenious way to escape. And they hatch a plan to seek revenge on the people that wronged her, but also the other prisoner. So the story kind of goes from there, and I love that anyway, just as a concept. You know, whenever you've got a woman that's seeking her revenge, I love it. And she is the daughter of a blacksmith, or the person like a swordsmith. He made all the weapons for the kind of emperor. So she knows how to handle her way around a sword. She can fight. It's wonderful. And these, like I said, these two girls kind of team up, and the storyline basically goes through them then going back and seeking revenge. And they also, the magic is really cool in this. So the Nua, the girl that she teams up with, she was like an apprentice to, so the emperor in this world, he uses jinn magic to keep his power, and basically no one can best him because he has this magic of the jinn in him. And this girl kind of was an apprentice to one of the alchemists, sort of, that helped make and collect the seeds that help make this jinn magic. I'm not explaining that really well, but she then goes and finds this cachet, and that sort of helps these two characters in their revenge seeking plot. So I like this kind of magic system that was a bit different, and the idea of ingesting these seeds and these potions that then give you this kind of magic to transform your looks, to, you know, fight your enemies. It's really interesting. And there's also this kind of central thing around vengeance and revenge, and how you can lose yourself and lose your own soul in the pursuit of vengeance. Really interesting, really good, fantastic book. Yeah, if you like that kind of thing, I would recommend. And then the last two that I read were The Writing Retreat. This is by Julia Bartz. Yes, I know it's completely different to any of those, but this was one of the kind of like the wintry thrillers that I wanted to read, and seeing as we're still in winter, and also a book that I've been dying to read because I heard a lot of people talk about it, and I love this. So you have this very famous writer, and she's very eccentric, and she writes these like crazy kind of thrillery feminist thriller books. And then you have a bunch of other characters who are kind of obsessed with her and want to be writers themselves. And they get invited to this writing retreat that she has this kind of almost like a competition to come and join her at her quite remote fancy house. And you spend a month with her. And, you know, by the end of it, you are going to be the best writer ever. And you're just going to be super successful. And the publisher's going to be falling all over themselves for your book. And it kind of starts out that way. So you've got this group of women. Also, the two main characters, they were best friends. And in the beginning of the book, you find out that although they were best friends, they had a falling out and they are no longer best friends. And as we go through the story, we kind of also get the backstory of why they had this falling out. But anyway, they're now forced into this proximity of this house together. So there's that. There is in here, there's queer rep. So there's sapphic rep in here, which is great. And it is, it kind of, so in terms of a thriller, I think possibly if you don't like it, you would think it would be a little bit too slow in the beginning because it really kind of builds up until it sort of goes crazy at the end. But I really loved it because first of all, I like a good build up. But second of all, I did like the fact that you go, oh, this is all very nice. This is like they're here in this house and they're having this retreat and they're going to write their stories. And then something's not right. There's an air, a whiff, smell that isn't right here. So it's not quite all as it seems. And then, of course, shit happens. I enjoyed this immensely. And I also love books that are about writers. So I think if you like that, this is set in winter, perfect kind of easy thriller, fun, you know, read for the season. Really loved it. And then again, I'm not going to go too much into the last book. This is House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. I'll be doing a separate Erin A. Craig video, but I'm working my way through all of her books. I had read this many years ago and I was like, well, seeing as I want to do a video of all of her books and go through all of them, I'm going to start again from the beginning because I read The 13th Child last year, which was her latest release. I think this was her first release and I just adored it. I think I adored it more the second time I read it. So it's a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. And again, my thing, I love dark fairy tales. I love dark fairy tale books. And this is very much it. So you've got these 12 sisters who live with their father on this island, and it's all about like the sea and fishing, and that's how they have their that's how they make their money. And this whole island is based around like the sea god, like Poseidon. And what's happening in this family is that her sisters are dying. Like there's this, basically everybody thinks the family is cursed because the girls keep dying and they don't know why. Like things are happening to them and like, are these accidents? Are they being murdered? What is going on? And our main character is like trying to figure out what the hell is going on because she suspects something about how her eldest sister died, but nobody kind of believes her. So she's sort of investigating this. And then you also have this gorgeous like atmosphere of this kind of sea-swept island with this house. There's beautiful kind of love story entwined in this. There's really themes of sisterhood, of family. You have this also element of, so if you know the 12 dancing, I'm looking for it. I have a book. I can't find it now, but like the original story, and the girls kind of go off to this sort of magical place at night and they dance and this till their slippers fall apart, and there's an element of that in here. There's kind of there's different elements of just magic, almost magical realism, other worlds, gods, myths. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, it's one of my all-time favorites, and it's the second read around. I loved it even more. So that's it. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you are loving dragon books as much as I am. And I will be posting my TBR for February soon. It'll be very dark romance heavy. So it is February, so I'm just doing a romance month. I'm just going crazy with that, and then also reading some series. I'm also going to be doing a quick update on series completion because I've completed some series. Well, or at least I'm up to date with them. Yay, goals. But that's it. Let me know what you think. As always, say something in the comments, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.